right, here we are. Woo! We are here. We have our girl Madison, our
Hello.
official goodish girl. Welcome.
Thank
Guys,
you. Thank
I
you.
searched high and I searched low for a goodish girl to join us that is into fantasy, romantasy, lore, theories, all of the above. And the podcast gods get us Madison. So I hope you guys welcome her with open arms and love her as much as we do. She's going to be hanging out with us full time, and we are diving deep into Crescent City. Welcome, Madison. It's good to have you here.
Glad to be here. We'll see. You know what? Once we get started, might feel like I've never read a book in my life, but we're going to try.
I don't know how to read.
It's like suddenly never read a book, no jokes, just here.
She's just here for the vibes. Oh, I love it. Okay. We are going to do this a little bit different this time. With Quicksilver, we dove deep into it. We talked about like all sorts of spoilers. With Crescent City, we kind of discussed about it, and it seems like it is one of the series in the Maasverse that a lot of people haven't read, right? They're scared to read it because it's intimidating. There's a lot that happens in the first couple of chapters that people have told them they're going to hate it. It's the worst series of the whole thing. I want to put all that to bed, right? It might be a hot take. I love Crescent City. It is one of my favorite series. Like for me, it's ACOTAR, Crescent City, Throne of Glass. I love Throne of Glass. I don't want anyone to read that wrong. But this series I thought was fabulous. It's exciting, it's different, and it shows some of Sarah J. Maas's greatest writing skills, in my opinion. It brings a lot of things full circle. It overlaps in different universes, including the ACOTAR one and some of the Throne of Glass stuff. So I think it's wonderful, and I want everyone else to love it as much as I do. So what we decided is we are going to do this, obviously a couple chapters at a time, but we're going to break this into two parts. Part one is going to be you listen to the episode that we are in right now, or whatever episode we're in, and we're only talking about those specific chapters. We are going to hold your hand. You are getting a guided tour through Crescent City via the Goodish Girls, okay? This is a safe episode. So this episode is chapters 1 through 7. If you have read or listened to chapters 1 through 7, you are safe with us right here, okay? No spoilers. But towards the end of the episode, once we have covered all of our chapters, we are entering into something amazing. And what we have decided is we are going to welcome you to the House of Theories and Lore, where we talk about all things spoilers, all things theories, all things across the board through all of the Maasverse, okay? So once we'll get there, we'll warn you when we're there, so you can either stay if you I don't know, I'm not going to say you hate it, but if you want to be in the theories, even though you haven't finished the series, that's okay. I'm not going to judge you. But if not, you can exit at that point and you still have all of the Crescent City information, and we will see you next week. If you are a Maas girly and you've read all the things and you want to talk about all the things and know all the things, stick around for that portion because I have some questions. Amazing. Are you ready to dive into it?
I'm ready.
Yay! Well, welcome to Goodish Girls, guys. My name is Dallas.
I'm Madison.
Ooh, here we go. All right. Crescent City, House of Earth and Blood, episode 1. Bet. There's a lot that goes into the first, not even like before even chapter 1. You have the house breakdown, which is where most people go, absolutely not, and then they close the book.
Mm-hmm.
So we're here to make it a little bit easier for you. And so we're going to go through all the houses. We're going to break them down, okay? And then as we're going through these chapters and going through the stories, we're going to remind you who is in what house. Because all these characters belong to different houses, except for some who don't belong to any houses. So we'll talk about it. We'll remind you. We're going to talk about the goddesses, things like that. We'll remind you where they go. So don't stress. Okay, so we have the House of Earth and Blood, right? This includes humans, shifters, ordinary animals, witches, and many others whom Chthona calls, as well as some chosen by Luna. Okay, Chthona and Luna are both goddesses. So we have the House of Sky and Breath, which is Malachim, angels, elementals, sprites, the Fae, and those who are blessed by Solus, along with some that are favored by Luna. And Solus and Luna are both goddesses. We have the House of Many Waters. This includes river spirits, water beasts, kelpies, mare, nymphs, nox, and other watched over by Ogenis. And Ogenis is also a goddess. And then we have the House of Flame and Shadow. The Demonaki are there. The Reapers, vampires, Draki, dragons, wraiths, necromancers, and many wicked and unnamed things that even Erd herself cannot see. So Erd is also a goddess. So House of Flame and Shadow is like the sketchy house, right? Where all like the weirdos go, right? And so it's interesting because House of Earth and Blood is a book, House of Sky and Breath is a book, and House of Flame and Shadow is a book. But House of Many Waters is not a book.
I already kind of have a theory. I don't know if you want me to save it.
If it includes a spoiler, we have to save it for the end.
No. No, I don't think it does.
Tell me your theory. What is it?
Okay, here's the tea. Everyone always wonders who the heck is on the covers.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And people were theorizing for this one. Maybe it's Bryce. Maybe it's I forgot who else they said. I want to say maybe they thought it was Jezebel, or maybe they're thinking the third one's Jezebel. But I heard someone make a theory that this is actually Chthona.
Oh.
Because she's the goddess, the earth goddess of Midgard, and
Yeah.
you have you have the crow, you have some petals, it looks like some tree branches, so you have the life aspect, but then also um in the book, as we meet some more characters, you learn more about what she represents. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of it has to do with love, and she also is wearing a little heart locket. So my theory is, because I originally thought whenever you get the house breakdowns, it goes over the 4 houses,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm not sure how many books in Crescent City SJM is contracted for. But what if instead of house names, her books are going off of the gods and goddesses?
Ooh. I like that theory. That would be nice.
And so then you would have like more opportunity to go through and create more books.
Right.
I don't know. Food for thought.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, anyone who says Crescent City 1 should have been a standalone, I disagree. I know it's a hot take, but there
I
is
don't
a
think I've
lot
ever
that
heard of
happens
that.
in I've heard that. I hear that online out there like this should have been a standalone. No. No. No, thank you. I hate it. I hate that take. I
Yeah.
love it the way that it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, right? Okay. So now we're going to go into the breakdown of the goddesses. And again, we're going to remind you guys like throughout the series who is what and who is where, okay? So Madison, who are
Yeah.
the goddesses?
So just talked about her. You know her. You love her. We're going to start off with Chthona. That's going to be the earth goddess, specifically of Midgard, which is essentially the world where Crescent City takes place. Her mate is Solus, who is the sun god. And then she also has a sister who is Ogenis, um, who we'll be talking about in just a moment. But people pray to her, to Chthona, for strength most of the time. And then we also mentioned Luna. Luna is the patron goddess of Lunathian, also known as Crescent City. She's the moon goddess of Midgard, and then she is again. She's actually the sister to Solus, so not Chthona. So Chthona has a sister who is ruling over the seas. That's Ogenis, and then Luna is a sister to Solus, who is the sun, or the god of the sun. Ogenis, like we mentioned, goddess of the sea, she is the keeper of mysteries, which that checks out. Because
Mhm.
if you think of real life, how much of the ocean is unexplored? Quite a bit of it.
Yeah.
And then last but not least, we have Erd, who is an ancient and powerful entity, often described as a force of fate or destiny. She's also considered more primal than Luna.
Yeah, it's interesting to me that one of them is not a god or a goddess. It's literally just a being, an
Yeah.
entity, which is wild. So again, those are the breakdowns we have right now. We will go through them once more. Rest your souls. You don't need to feel super overwhelmed of this. We will guide you through it, okay? Welcome to your guided tour of Crescent City once again. Here we go. Chapter 1, Part 1, The Hollow, okay? We immediately meet our FMC, Bryce. She's half fae, half human. And we meet Danica, who is a wolf shifter, and they are at a really specific and important location, Griffin Antiquities. We know that Bryce has worked there for about a year and that she works with a character named Lahava. Lahava's job is not to eavesdrop, but is to be downstairs and guard a second set of books. And I want you guys to know, if you listen to our Quicksilver Deep Dive at all, you know my love for fire sprites is so real. But my love for fire sprites is solidified by this series. I would die for Lahava. I love that little curvy fire sprite. She's probably my favorite character this entire book. Like,
Wow.
in my mind, I want to be Bryce, right? I'm like, I'm not tall. She's tall, but I'm like, I'm curvy girl. Like, I try to look nice sometimes. She is amazing. Like, right? I want to be Bryce, but I am actually Lahava
That's
in my
cute.
soul. I like to sit on the couch and watch TV and just be nosy. I love her. I want you guys to know this. My love for Lahava is so real.
You know, the
So,
first time I read it, I pronounced it, I think it was, I think I said Lihaba, just because I knew her nickname
yeah.
was Lily. So I'm like,
Lily.
Lihaba makes
Lihava.
sense. But like doing Lahaba or Lahaba, because I'm
Yeah.
like, well, if it's a Lahaba, then I almost feel like her nickname should have been like Lala or something.
Right. Yes. Lily. Well, you have Lily and BB
Uh, so
for
cute.
Bryce. The BB. Yeah, I love her. I would die for her. The end. So when they're at Griffith Antiquities, Danica comes in and she's a hot mess. She hides her sword in the showroom. Now, the sword is a big part of this story, so keep the timing and location in your mind throughout, okay? This is like a big part. I'm not going to tell you why, but it is. So Lahaba and Jessica, who is the owner of the antique store, don't like when Danica is there. Every time Danica is there, like, Lahaba gets all flamey. We are introduced then to Jessica Roga, right? Who is the owner of Griffin Antiquities and Bryce's boss. She was originally a witch, but she defected. So she was like in a house, she defected. She left the House of Earth and Blood to join House of Flame and Shadow. Okay. So remember, the House of Flame and Shadow is where all the weirdos go, which is not a bad thing. It's all right. So she was in one house, then she moved to a different house. She is the only one that I know of that moves houses.
True.
So you don't have to worry. I would keep that in your mind, but you don't have to worry about like people jumping from house to house all the time. They're in the houses that they're in unless they are exiled. But she she chose to leave and go to a different area, right? So in this new house, the House of Flame and Shadow, she reports directly to the Underking, who is like the head of the House of Flame and Shadow, okay? Jessica can turn anyone into an animal. So this is something we will hear often in the book. So we are keeping a count on how many times we hear this throughout the series. It's like a power that she has, and I think it's hilarious.
Make a good
Uh,
drinking game.
yes, we should. I don't know if we'd get very far in the episode because she does be using that threat quite a bit. We also learned that downstairs of the shop is where the books are. There are a ton of glass tanks and cages with small animals in them, and we have no idea if they were once something else. We learn that Bryce is a free spirit, and mirthroot is the main drug of choice for her when she goes out to party and dance. Bryce brings up a tattoo that she got with Danica recently that is on the back of her neck and goes down. Danica also has the same one, but she is a full-blooded Vanir. And so hers heals quickly. So like the Vanir heal like the Fae, right? So like super fast healing. So the tattoo is something I want you guys to keep in mind in this series. The tattoo will come back to be important. Bryce takes note to Danica's sword in the supply closet once again and how it was famed in this city and others and as well. It is very ancient and it is very important. She also says that the sword was next to a can of gasoline that they use for the generator for when the first light goes out. And the first light is the power source that is used to power all of Midgard, which is like the planet that they live on, okay? So that part's really important. I don't know if the gasoline is important. I just
What?
think it's fun to be like, here's like this cool light source that's like from magic, and here's all these cool houses, and then also a can of gasoline.
We can
You
talk
can like
about that
relate.
later.
You can yeah, we will, but you can really relate to these like things, right? It's so fun. I love it. We get introduced to Danica a little bit, like of what the pack of devils was before we get into each members, right? Bryce figures out that Danica is meeting with 7 very important people, important enough for her to come in and take a shower and change her clothes and also put her sword away, which we know with Danica, that's a big deal because she does not change or clean up for anyone in specific, only when she wants to. So she's meeting with the city heads, which are like the big people in charge of all of Crescent City. So again, Danica does not even clean up to meet with her grandfather, who is the prime to the Valbaran wolves, or even her mother, who literally hates her. Danica and Bryce are both hated by her mom, who is named Sabine. Sabine is the alpha of the Synth Moon Pack and the chief of the shifter units in the city's auxiliary. So again, this is why I think people get so overwhelmed at this series, because these are big words. And the first time I read it or listened to it, I was like, hold on, let me go back. What does that mean one more time? So lots of things going on. So in the Valbaran wolves, right, you have packs, because obviously wolves travel in packs. Each pack has a head of it, right? Like the prime of the pack. And then the grandpa's at the top, right? Grandpa's in charge of everything. He's like the super big in charge guy. And so Sabine is in charge of one pack. Danica is in charge of her own pack. And so Sabine and Danica do not get along. Sabine hates Danica because Sabine is technically supposed to be in charge when Grandpa passes. Okay? So keep that all in mind. So, again, originally Sabine was supposed to be the prime parent till Gramps gives out. But Gramps gave Danica the sword that she now has, which again, the sword is very important because on Danica's 18th birthday, the sword made a call to her like a howl of a wolf. And so Sabine really resents her for this because it was a huge embarrassment to her. Mother of the year. Sorry, your daughter is supposed to be like this awesome thing and you don't get to do it. Like, what a selfish lady. Truly.
I can't. She's such an interesting and complex character.
She is. Yes. She's something else. And she will come back throughout most of this story. So she's not going anywhere. I'm so sorry, guys.
Unfortunately.
I know. Yeah, so she's resentment. She is mean. She's feisty. I don't know. So back to the meeting that Danica is going to. This meeting is a big deal because Philip Briggs is being released from prison today. Okay. He is the leader of the human rebellion that is confined to the northern reaches of Pangera, which is like another city. It's a sprawling territory essentially across the sea. He attempted to bring the war to this side and was planning on blowing up what's called the White Raven, which is a nightclub. It's a huge nightclub. It has a lot of people that go there, or a lot of different types of beings that go there as well. And Danica, with her pack, found his plans and stopped him from going through with it. So they were essentially the ones who caught him, right? If this attempt were successful, it would have started a war with the humans and the Vanir, with a global conflict and with a goal for the humans to lead instead of being oppressed by the higher beings. Okay. Because at this moment, the ones who are called the Asteri rule over all of Midgard. So again, Midgard is like the planet. The Asteri rule over everybody, right? And they are located in Pangera, which is that city across the sea. For Philip Briggs, he was in prison for all of these things that he was doing, right? Someone messed up the paperwork somewhere along the line. So he's getting out on what's called a technicality, essentially, which is a huge deal. So with the pack of devils, Danica, again, is the alpha. She's in charge. They are magically gifted, and they have long lives and are in charge of protecting tourists and citizens across the entire city, like Crescent City itself, right? They are considered the elite shifter units in Crescent City Auxiliary, and they are supposed to make sure guys like Briggs are put away. So him getting out, Danica having going to this meeting, this is a huge deal. They're like the FBI wolf division, like the FBI SWAT wolves. I didn't know how else to
SWAT
explain
wolves.
them. Yeah, I was like, are they like SWAT wolves? They don't have a big truck, but they should. But they
That'd be
are.
hilarious.
Wouldn't it be if they had their own SWAT van? the pack of wolves, and their SWAT van. That's the only way I could think of to like explain it or describe them, where and like their importance and what they do. Like they are the
Mhm.
lead pack, right? Their pack is even better than like her mom's pack, like Sabine's pack. And so for him to get out like such a huge guy that they put away, it's like it's awful. So above them are the angels at the 33rd Imperial Legion, basically home base for the Angel Police, right? And so they are not doing a lot to help. They're just kind of like flying around, looking at everybody and being like, sucks to be you. Sorry. So with the angels, you have Micah Dramatas, and he is the governor and the leader of Crescent City, formerly again known as Lunathian. And the angels report to him. They are considered his personal army. Danica, though, is not afraid to get in Micah's face, especially about Briggs being released, which tells us a lot about Danica because Micah is not to be fucked with. Like, he is like the guy, like in charge, right? So you have like Asteri, and then you have Micah below them.
You want to know something hilarious?
Yes, always. Tell me.
So whenever they're going into, like, you're introduced to Micah saying like he's the governmental leader and whatnot, I found it hilarious that they're like, so there's this big angel guy who's in charge of, as you said, the angel police. However, he rules over and is like located in the central business district. So I'm like, so he's a frat boy business major?
Yes, he is. I hate him. He's such a butt. You guys will learn that later on.
Ugh.
But either way, even though he is like not to be fucked with, like he like radiates authority, right? All these things. Danica doesn't care. She's gonna get in his face because this is again a huge deal for Briggs to be released. So I want to go over a little bit about how Crescent City is laid out territory-wise with the lead heads that there. You have the prime of the wolves who are in Moonwood, right, which is Gramps for Danica. You have the Fey Autumn King who resides in the Five Roses. You have the Under King who lays in the Bone Quarter down below. You have the Viper Queen who is in charge of the meat market. You have the Oracle who lives in the Old Square. And then you have the River Queen in the Blue Court. Underwater in the Istros River, and she represents the House of Many Waters, but rarely makes an appearance anywhere. And I don't know if it means something or not. It was interesting that when they were describing it, hers had the most description. They were like Fey King, Five Roses, Under King,
Mhm.
Bone Court. But then they were like, then you have the River Queen in the Blue Court, and she's in the Istros River, and she represents blah, blah, blah. Like, I just thought it was interesting that she had the longest description, and I don't think Sarah J. Maas does anything on accident.
Yeah. She just seems
I
so
don't know.
shady.
Right? She like never shows up to anything, right?
Mhm.
It says she rarely makes an appearance anywhere. As far as the humans go, the humans reside in Asphodel Meadows, but they hold no leadership anywhere. We learn there are also lower creatures who have no rights at all, including a chimera named Syrinx, who is like a pug lion dog thing with a
You
squishy
wanna
face.
know something odd?
Yes.
So, I don't know, did you listen to the normal audiobook or did you listen to the graphic audiobook?
I listened to the normal one.
Okay, for whatever reason, because I feel like whenever people read this book, me included, I thought of Syrinx as, like, dog/puppy-esque.
Hmm.
However, in the graphic audio, they have him, like, purring and yowling, and he
Like
sounds
a
like a
cat?
cat. Yeah! I was like, "Hold on. This doesn't check out. Make it make
Wha-
sense." And
I
it happens multiple times.
I guess I can kind of see it because like how Syrinx acts throughout the series.
Like, he
Like,
acts cat-like, but he looks
yeah,
like a
like
dog.
why cat sound if dog face?
Exactly.
But like lion butt?
Make it make sense.
Make it make sense.
Why dog but sound cat?
Yeah, I Syrinx is what it wants to be, I guess. That's wild. That's so funny. I don't know if I want to listen to that.
Fun fact for the day.
I'm gonna listen to it. I needed to know what this is. I didn't think I want to. I think I do now. But yeah, dog lion thing maybe sounds like cat. He was super expensive. And he was bought by Jessica Roga to help Lahaba protect the books downstairs in the gallery. Okay. Syrinx does not give a fuck about those books at all. At, like, literally in any way, shape, or form. And so you have all of those guys, and then Micah, again, rules over them all and answers to the Asteri. Once we go through who runs what, we are taken back to the gallery because, like, we're, like, in Bryce's mind, like, going through all the things, right? We're back into the gallery where Bryce receives a phone call from Jessica, who tells her that if Danica continues to use the gallery as a locker for her personal items, she will turn her into a lizard. Jessica animal threats 1. I want to know how many we're going to get to before we get to the end of the series.
Oh
It's
gosh.
so many, so many. I'm so excited. So yeah, that's like her thing, right?
Are we
So she's
counting
gonna.
like her personal threats, or are we also kind of like, and if I don't do this, Jezebel's going to turn me into a lizard
No, I think we should do it like if it comes from Jezebel herself.
from the source?
Yes, where she's
Mm,
like, I'm gonna turn you into this, and then I think because there later on maybe a time where she gives options. I think those are all counted as other like individuals.
okay.
So we'll see how it goes. It'll be fun. So again, there's a lot that happens in the breakdown and chapter 1, but that wraps it up, right? We have 2 besties. One of them isn't liked by the rest of the group in front of them right now, but we continue on to chapter 2.
Yeah, so now we're going into, so Danica's changed. She's in her wolf form because for whatever reason did not feel like making an appearance in her human form. But so Danica's going to her meeting where Bryce is going out to look for the horn, which is a relic that is normally stationed in Luna's temple. Um, and she was specifically asked by Jezebel to look for this horn, and Bryce has been looking for it for the past week.
Mm-hmm.
If you're like me and you have read the Empyrean series and you like to Scooby Doo things and like hang on to the teeniest, tiniest details. So, in the first chapter, whenever they're talking about the tattoo, for kicks and gigs, if you want to keep track of the days, she mentions this day, tattoo happened 2 days ago. Whenever Bryce mentions looking for the horn, as of today, that happened 5 days ago. So the horn
Mm-hmm.
was stolen. They get a tattoo. Bryce is now on the hunt for this horn for Jezebel. For whatever reason, we don't know. And also, Micah is offering a reward as well for anyone who can find it.
Mm-hmm.
And if it is found, whoever stole it, they may or may not get crucified by Micah. So that is essentially what Bryce is up to while Danica is going to this meeting. As they're walking and talking, we kind of get more into some more lore, if you will. Um, so the next thing that's brought up is something called the drop. That is essentially where at any point in time, someone can choose to make this drop where they essentially have an anchor who is someone on the outside in the real world who is anchoring them back to life. They'll make a drop, go down to like their little pool of their magic source, whatever
Like
that
in
may
their mind,
be.
right?
Yeah,
Like it's not like a physically like you're jumping into a hole.
no.
Like
It's
your
kind of
body is
like
present,
deep
but your mind
meditation.
for what?
It's kind of like a deep meditation, I would say.
Yeah, it's like a full out of body experience, but you're not like, okay, I'm going. I'll be back in a little
Yeah.
bit. Like pull me up at the rope. It's like all metaphorical. So you
Yeah,
like are in
no.
meditation mode. You're like linked to this person who is awake, and then you have to like dive all the way down, and then they have to like pull your spirit essentially, like your soul back up. Basically, is how I
So
understood it.
yeah, so the drop has essentially like three factors. So you make the drop itself, which is your descent into your like psychosis, trying to figure out what power is within you, depending on what race you are, whether you're Veneer, if you're half Fae like Bryce, depends on how much power might be there.
Mm-hmm.
Danica is rumored to have a bunch of power and
Mm-hmm.
to come back like probably the most powerful wolf in the pack. Um, but there's the drop itself. Once you get there, then you have the ascent to make it back out. And that's where your anchor comes into play. Because if you do not successfully make that ascent back up after you've gone to your magic source, then you end up dying and kind of just staying within that place. You don't like die and you get to have like
Yeah.
a send off or a burial. You just kind of are gone.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine being stuck in the drop? That sounds terrifying. Just
Yeah,
like a black hole of abyss forever. Ugh.
I don't
That
know,
gives me
man.
goosebumps. I hate it. That's a no for me.
Yeah, hard pass.
Yeah.
I'm
No.
just like, you know what? Whatever nature wants, nature can take me. Drop sounds kind of scary.
Yeah. And which is why it's so important that you pick the right person to be your anchor. Right?
Mhm.
You want to pick someone who's strong, who you can trust, who's going to guide you, who's going to be like powerful enough and strong enough to be able to talk you through all these things and help you find the surface once again. Right?
Yeah.
It's a big deal.
And at this point, Bryce and Danica, they have not made the drop. They
Mhm.
both want to make the drop at 27, which like I kind of get, but I'm just like, okay. Like if you had to make the drop any age, what drop would you make?
Okay, so like young me would pick like 20, right? Because I'd be like, I'm ready. But
Yeah.
then now that I'm not in my 20s anymore, I feel like 30 is like a good solid age to make the drop.
Mhm.
I'm
That
like,
was
I'm
me.
mature enough now. My frontal lobe is complete. Like I
Mhm.
I think 30 is like a good time.
Yep. I would pull a full 13 going on 30 and just want to be 30, flirty, and thriving.
Yes. Like I'm 30, let's make the drop and then I'll move on with my life. But part of me thinks that I would be rash and probably do it at 20 because I did a lot of rash stuff at 20 that I was like, I'm great. I'm 20. I can do this. And then now I'm like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. So, yeah, I wish the legal age would be 30 to make the drop to
Yeah.
protect me from doing it too soon.
I don't think they ever mentioned there's like a legal like, oh, at this age you can make the drop.
No, it's whenever basically you want when you feel like your power's
Wow.
ready.
That's they need to put a restriction on that.
Yeah, you really should.
But yeah, we learned that Danica and Bryce have not made the drop. Also, just like side information that I honed in on is we also get to learn a little bit more about Bryce's friend, specifically
Mhm.
Fury. And Fury has not made the drop, or no, she has made the drop, but Bryce specifically mentions that Fury, who has made the drop at age 21, hadn't chosen the age for herself. It just happened or had been forced upon her.
Mhm.
What?
Yeah, it doesn't give
Um,
anything else.
because they say we don't know for
Ooh.
sure. Even Fury's attendance to the university had only been for a front for a mission. Most of her time was spent doing things for disgusting amounts of money over in Panjira, and then she made it a point to never give details.
Yes. The Fury's character in general is wild. And if you guys are staying through this entire episode through and we go through our theories in the theories of the House of Theories and Lore, I have questions about theory or Fury Axtar. I jumped into Reddit. I have things I need to say. So if you want to know more about her that are genuinely just theories, there's like no receipts. Stick around for that, okay? Because I have questions about her.
I also just need Sarah to write a Fury X Star novella. Before all of this
Yes,
happened, I want to know her life because she's such a complex character
she is.
and we don't know a lot about her because she is just so like incognito and so
Yeah, she's so
secretive.
mysterious.
And I want the information.
Yes, tell us. Please give us novella.
Give us your information.
I love it.
Um, Continuing with the lore, because that's all the first 200 pages is.
Oh,
Um,
sure is. Yeah.
we go into specifically, it's mentioned that Bryce wears an Archesian amulet, which is essentially something that she got from Jezebel at the start of her employment, and it protects specifically against an influence of magical objects.
Hmm.
Um, and Danica tells Bryce specifically whenever she mentions like, "Oh yeah, you go to your meeting. I'm gonna look for this horn thing." Danica's like, "Don't take that off." It's like noted.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm so thankful for fan art because I had no idea what an Archesian amulet looked like. I needed a reference. I also went straight into Crescent City after A Court in Thorns and Roses, and so I'm used to like medieval like past things like
Yeah.
that, and then you have like cell phones and guns, and I'm like, what the heck is this place? So thank you, people who create fan art. I love you. um but
Can you give us like a description of what you found? Because I don't think I've seen any fan art about what I just have like a picture in my mind.
so
And maybe it
essentially
is a little like
an
um
Archesian amulet is it's a gold necklace, And on the very end is essentially like if you're ever in school and you did the Venn diagrams, but instead of doing like the 2 circles, it's 3. So 3 interconnected circles.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, fun fact.
I think I imagined it like more
Intricate?
dramatic. Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Okay. It's just like this tiny, cute little thing that is like super powerful.
Yeah, just very, very simple, very delicate.
Yeah. If you guys have any fan art or like ones, post it in the comments
I
because
love
I
fan
would like to see
art.
that. Yes. Show us all the fan art. I'm here for it.
But yeah, we learn more about this Archizine amulet. And then Danica and Bryce, before Danica goes to her meeting, she's like, you know what? We're at this gate, and there are gates all throughout this city, but specifically the one that they're at, Danica's like, for kicks and gigs, like, let's just make a wish, which is
Mhm.
something that a lot of people do, especially tourists.
Mhm.
But there are 7 gates total around the city, each one within their designated area. So kind of like how we covered who's in charge of like Moonwood, Viper in charge of the meat market.
Mhm.
All
Yeah.
those specific locations have a gate. And it's mentioned that the gates way back when were used for communications devices. And so allegedly, if you put your hand on the tablet and if you spoke into the gate, if a gem lit up of another on the dial, then allegedly you were talking to someone who also had their hand on that tablet and you can communicate to one another. Whether that's true or not, people don't know. It's just a speculation of history.
Mhm.
Um, Bryce and Danica mentioned that they might have tried to attempt communicating to one another when they were drunk. Did it work? We don't know. But to make a wish, it is specifically mentioned that you do have to give a kernel of your magic,
Mhm.
um, which is why it's important to make the drop because then you get more magic and so you're not like essentially draining yourself. So the drop helps you reach your full potential.
Mhm.
Um, but as they're making their wishes, oh, also the gates, every single one of them has a plaque that says the power shall always belong to those who give their lives to the city. What does that mean? Who knows? um,
What she means is we'll find out later.
I know. It's like, I don't know what that means.
Wink,
Um,
wink.
but anywho, Bryce and Danica make their little wish. Um, Danica specifically wishes for Ethan. Listen, I have beef.
Ethan.
I have beef with fantasy writers. Whenever I read this book, I said Ethan because
Okay. Right.
it's
For our audiobook listeners who have not physically like read like picked up the book, right? And you just went into the audiobook world. It's spelled Ithan for
mm-hmm.
Ethan. So it's
Ethan.
and I think Sarah does this to us on purpose, right?
100%.
It's in all 3 series. There are characters who have names that are spelt wild, Rysand. When I first read Akatar, I like picked up the book and I read it. I borrowed it from
Rice
Kat,
and.
right? And I was like, "Who is Rysand?" And
Mm-hmm.
she's just like, "No,
See, but
it's not it."
it was always rice and, but I would always say Reese. I wouldn't call him Rice because I'm like that's weird.
Right? But it's Rysand.
I don't know. Rice and just sounds like more evil.
It does. It sounds a little silly. Rice.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, I think she does this on purpose. So it is Ithan, but it is Ethan. And what does Ethan do?
that boy plays some sunball.
He plays Sunball.
Is this important information?
Yes.
Not at all. But you will be reminded that
All the
this boy
time.
plays sunball. And if I let an Ethan slip out, it's not intentional. I went 3 books worth of saying Ethan, and then I think I was talking theories with a friend in Barnes and Noble Cafe, and I was like, yeah, something Ethan, and they're like, who? I'm like, Ethan. They're like, you mean Ethan? I'm like, potato. It's fine. Moving on.
Kale.
Okay, I only knew Kale because I was told beforehand. There was someone else. I like completely butchered their name. Um, I think for a while I called. Lucian, which isn't that bad.
That's not that far off.
But you want to know what's something odd? So she never specifically says, like, oh, here's how you pronounce my character's names, which would be super helpful.
That'd
The
be very
only
helpful.
character she specifically says, this
Oh,
is
I
how
know
you
this
say
one.
her name, is Feyre.
It's Feyre.
Why?
Feyre.
I know, because this is specifically Elaine picking on her, and she was like, something, 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 Feyre. And then in parentheses, it has, like, how to say it. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
easy, but I can kind of like understand you would want to make the distinction in case you don't want people to say oh, what's her name? Who's the goddess that's in the Thor movies? Is it Freya? Frida? There's something
Oh, are
similar.
we went to Marvel.
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry, I
Jumping
was like, I don't know who that is. I don't think that's in the series. Yeah,
um
I like Marvel. I do not know enough about Marvel to be able to quote you anything in it. That's Alyssa's territory. Her dog's name is Marvel, so
that's so cute.
yeah, she's big Marvel girly. I
But
have
yeah,
no
I think like Thor's mom's name, because there's a goddess whose name I think is like Freya. So I can understand like if you're wanting to make sure that the R is in the right place, but I'm like, out of
Yeah,
all names,
it's the least
Feyre's the
complicated
least of my
name.
concern.
Yeah, what? I think she did it on purpose. She's like,
It's
I'm gonna give
fine.
him this one, and then I'm not gonna give him anything else.
It's fine. Anyway,
Let there be a
Ethan and
war
his
between
sunball.
readers.
He plays sunball, and it's
He sure
fine.
does play some Sunball.
It's
And we
fine.
will know the whole time.
We will know the whole time, but we will not know what
Yes.
sunball is. Because in my head, like in the book you mentioned, or it's like told like, oh, people wearing sunball baseball caps. So in my head I'm like, sunball baseball, but then they're like, no. I'm like, what do you mean? It's like, what is sunball? Is it football? Is it like lacrosse? It's not baseball apparently.
That's a great question.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I put enough thought into that.
He brings
I
it up so much, we
He
have to
does.
know what it means.
Yeah, I just in my mind I was like, yep, Sunball plays sports. Good
Mm-hmm.
job, Ethan. Okay. Yeah, what is Sunball?
Someone make some fan art of sunball.
We should put a vote. We should put a vote on our socials. Do we think Sunball is baseball, football,
Ooh.
or like maybe it's like rugby? Maybe?
Yeah, or
That
like lacrosse.
I don't want to sound dumb. Rugby includes
Rugby's
like
like,
a piece of material, right? At least like a ball or something. I know they tackle each other real hard.
I hope Josh doesn't watch this. He's like, actually, guys, I'm out.
Yeah. Oops. Oopsies. For those who don't know Josh is yet, he is a secret person we're adding to our podcast. You'll meet him soon.
He's a
You'll
funny
love him,
guy.
don't worry.
But anywho, Ethan and his sunball. Is it important? Not at all. Will you be reminded that he plays sunball? Absolutely. There will also be a sunball count. Don't you worry.
Yes. Ethan plays Sunball. 1.
So Danica's wish is that Ethan wins his sunball game. One thing, I could not find it in my book, but in the graphic audio, Danica's like, okay, Bryce, like I made my wish. What are you gonna wish for? In the graphic audio, Bryce is specifically like, ugh, I can't let Danica show me up. Like I'm gonna outwish her wish. And then Homegirl says, Danica needs to get a manicure. I'm like, I don't think you outdid her in the slightest. Like, I was
No.
expecting, like, these deep, like, personal,
Yeah.
like, I really need this thing to happen. They're like, I hope Ethan wins a sport. I hope you get a manicure because your nails are trash.
Yeah.
It's fine. But
Yeah.
yeah,
They make their wishes.
they make their wishes.
There's 2 besties hanging out.
Yeah.
They're always there for the vibes.
And then Bryce goes on to hunt for the horn while Danica goes to her meeting.
Mm-hmm.
It's fine.
Yeah. So they do like part ways, going to do all the things that they're supposed to be doing. So it is meant to give us like a better vision of what the relationship is between Bryce and Danica, right? They are besties. They have each other. And then obviously we learn about like the people around them. So that kind of wraps up chapter 2. So chapter 3, just as Bryce thought she would get a peaceful night on the couch, she like heads home to her apartment. She's like, man, the couch is calling my name. She hears the pack laughing inside her apartment, like as she's walking up the stairs. It didn't make her that sad though, because she knows that the pack counts her as one of their own, right? All the Hellions are laughing across the couch, and Bryce notes that the meeting with the summit was probably bad, but not so bad that Danica would miss Ethan's Sunball game. Ethan even texted Bryce that she better be there next time, because Ethan is not a part of the actual pack itself, like the pack of devils, but he holds a special place within that pack because he's the younger brother of Connor, and Connor is the second to Danica and was considered the enforcer for the pack. All members of the pack are born to serve in the Ox, so they like don't get a choice. So each week, the wolves get one night off together, and it is mandatory. So this is so the pack can bond and relax and just chill and hang out. And tonight is TV and pizza. So everyone's at the apartment, everyone's hanging out, right? We learned that the meeting that Danica had to attend did not go well, and Briggs was released, and there was nothing that they could do about it. The only reason that the pack was not out watching his every move was because of the mandatory one night off with no exceptions. So Danica is obviously worried Briggs is going to go do something. So she explains that she is upset because Sabine cornered her, which again is her mother. So Mom Wolf corners her after the meeting in front of everybody, like right outside Micah's office. And she explains that the 2 students got killed during the blackout of the city that happened the week prior, and that it was her fault because it was her shift. Their bodies were ripped to shreds and partially eaten, and we have no idea who did it. And this right here was one of the things that got me, because I am a crime like show loving girly, right? I watch like all the Law and Orders and like the Criminal Minds and all of this stuff. So I was like, oh, we got a mystery. We got a detective. I'm here. Right. So this is like something that like brought me in immediately, and I was ready for it. So an important thing to note is that the Prime, which like Grandpa is like the wolf, right? He's 400 years old. He fell asleep during this big meeting, and it is noted that it will soon, like his time will soon come to an end, and they would complete his sailing. With a sailing, this part is kind of important because when one passes, they sail them into the Istros River on a boat. And if being sailed, the boat tips over, they are not accepted into the bone quarter. And it's only tipped if their soul is deemed unworthy. So it's just kind of noted right now, but the sailings are a pretty important thing to remember. Okay, so the Prime wasn't there to like awake to protect Danica from Sabine after this. Okay, it's odd that Danica was only 3 blocks away from like where this crime happened. These students were killed, and she's upset because her wolf senses didn't see, hear, or smell anything that happened, which is wild because like her wolf senses are big, right? Like she's a pretty powerful being. So she is really upset at herself, and her mom like didn't help at all, right? So at this point, Bryce has still not located the horn. The horn keeps coming back up, and it will continue to come back up, right? So, and we know that Jessica is also upset about it. So everybody's upset that the horn is missing. Everyone's upset that Danica didn't save these students. And then we learn that Jessica notes that if Bryce doesn't find the horn, she will possibly turn her into a donkey. Jessica, animal threat 2. Twice now. So every time it's a different animal. I love it.
I mean, you gotta keep it variable.
Yes. Jessica has
like,
a creative imagination.
If it was always just like, I'll turn you into a lizard, I'm like, maybe I want to be a lizard.
Yeah, you say it enough times, I'm going to be one.
Yeah.
No, she always picks a different animal. So maybe she'll pick one that somebody likes and they'll do it. I don't know. So we learn that during this time while they're at the house and they're like relaxing, that Bryce is actually supposed to be on a date in an hour with a total fuckboy named Reed. And Connor is upset about it. Right. So Connor, again, is Danica's second and part of the pack. Now, Reed is not important. Right. So there's a lot of characters in this book, like a ton. Reed is not somebody that you need to keep in your mind because he sucks at life and in bed. So we can forget about him. But what we can keep in mind is Redner Enterprises, which is a company that his dad owns. And we want to keep that name in the back of our minds for later. So Danica worked as a security, like part of security for Redner Enterprises. And this is also of importance later on because Danica is the one who introduced Reed and Bryce. It is uncommon for an alpha such as Danica to have a second job, but Danica needed some sort of independence in her life because, again, they're born to serve the ox, but Danica wanted to be like something for herself, right? So she got a job. We know that Connor has feelings for Bryce and has for a while now, but has been put on hold per Danica. Danica finally lifted basically the block on Bryce because she said no to him and she is not here for any alpha holes, which is literally one of my favorite words. I want a sticker that says alpha hole so bad.
I'm pretty sure I've seen some.
Okay, well, if you see one, will you? If I'm not with you, will you grab it? I'll Venmo you. It doesn't matter. I'll do other things. I want a nice like big old sticker that says alpha hole. It's the funniest word I've ever heard in my life. And so wolves or certain males tend to keep women locked away and only use them for breeding. And so Bryce is not here for that. She's an independent girly and she's not here to be tied down. And not that there's anything wrong with being a housewife. Totally fine. But like, that's not for Bryce. She wants to explore an adventure and party and be young.
Mm-hmm.
So Bryce goes and gets ready for this date and is touching up her makeup, but she's not really putting a lot of effort into it because she doesn't even really want to go. This is a big part of Bryce's personality, right? She dreams of being a professional dancer, even though she has like the wrong body type or was half human and half fae. But she put real time into her looks. And even though Bryce couldn't make dance a profession, we learned that her friend Juniper, which is like this beautiful, graceful fawn, was able to make it a reality for herself. So Bryce not getting ready, not putting any effort into how she looks when she's going in this, really tells you that she does not give a shit about this guy, right? It's just a free meal. But is it really even a free meal? Because it's like a air on a cracker, basically, is the type of restaurant that she's going to. So you will learn that Bryce's looks are very important throughout the story. As she's leaving, Connor stops her on the way out the door and attempts to express his feelings. He is real bad at it, but he does give it his best shot, and I give him credit for that. And to be honest, Bryce did not make it easy for him at all, right? She's always had a rule that she doesn't date wolves. She already has Danica, and she doesn't need any other Vanir bossing her around. Like, Danica is all she needs. Bryce has a history because her mother was with a fae, and his possessiveness almost kept her captive. Her mother found out that she was pregnant, but was able to leave before it was too late, and her sire found out. Okay, that part's super important. So keep that in your minds as well. And we learn a few important things at the end of this chapter. Bryce's dad has a ton of money and has offered to pay her for her silence of his existence. She did not agree, nor did she take any money from him. Okay, Danica, however, is pretty rich, pretty wealthy, pretty well off, and she could have gotten them a really nice apartment, but Bryce does not make a ton of money working for Jessica, and so they got an apartment more in Bryce's budget. Bryce didn't need Connor and wasn't ready to settle down, right, or be with someone, as we had kind of talked about. Again, Danica is all she needed, and that was that. And this, we had kind of talked about, like, other, like Fury when she comes in. So it's in this book, it's very interesting because it's like conversation, things, facts, and then like a character entry, and then we move on.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So it's like talking, Fury, talking, like
she's always there.
Yeah, there's like Fury's always watching, right? But it's like talking, Juniper.
Mm-hmm.
So we meet these little characters so quickly, but again, they're important. Like Juniper is important, Fury is important, Danica and Connor are important. So these are all names to keep in your mind. Again, I know it's a lot of characters, and I think, again, this is why people get so overwhelmed of this series, is because there's so much to take in. But don't worry, we've got you. We're going to hold your hand. You just listen to this episode. We're going to break it all down. Don't worry.
The first time I read Crescent City, I was literally texting my friend. I'm like, should I be taking notes? Because I feel like there's going to be a quiz after this.
Yeah, there's a lot of information. And I think in my mind, when Sarah wrote this, because this is with the third series that she wrote out of all of them, right? I think she was like, I think she had faith in her fandom. She's like, okay, they made it through ACOTAR. They made it through all of Throne of Glass. They can handle this series. And I
may be a veteran, but it was hard.
It was hard.
Even the second time, I was just like, wow. It's a lot of information.
I had to like go back 30 seconds. And I was like, hold on, one more time. What was that? What's happening? So yes, it's a lot, but again, it's such a good story that if you are able to just take it step by step and not stress too much about all of the little details, really just let the story play out. It's amazing. And I
Mhm.
love it. So we get another note of Fury, who, again, is one of Bryce's friends, a total mystery. We don't know a ton about her. So as she's turning down Connor, Bryce is leaving. She's going to her date. The girls say, "Love you, light it up, bitch," and Bryce heads out the door. Light it up is their saying, and I am
It's so
obsessed with
cute.
it. It's so cute. And this is important because Danica never says I love you. She doesn't say I love you to anybody except to Bryce. And Bryce always says it because she has no idea when it will be the last time that that person hears it. As Bryce is walking out, she almost cancels to go get ice cream and hang out with Danica, but goes out on her date anyways. End chapter 3.
During that chapter, whenever she mentions Reed, I was like, who the heck is Reed? I forgot about him. I forgot he was even a thing.
He's just a blip in a
I, f-
chapter,
I forgot
literally.
about him. I forgot about his dad's company and his little Nepo babiness.
Nepo baby.
Because he
He
is.
is. He is. You're right.
But whenever I was reading it, because this is also like the first chapter where we are introduced to the term alpha holes. And then it kind of goes into like why with the whole her history with her mom. And so like we know her mom is human, and if
Mm-hmm.
Bryce is half Fae, then we obviously know what race her dad is. And
Right.
whenever I first read it, and they say like, oh yeah, and her dad like pursued Ember at 19. I was like, at 19?
Yeah.
And then I remember this kid. This kid was also 19. I was
She
like,
was.
wait, I guess that's fine. And then also, I
This is
forgot
okay.
how old Aelin is whenever she meets Rowan. But I was like,
She's
okay,
pretty young.
yeah. Because in Assassin's Blade, our main character, they start out as like early teens. Like, I want to say she might have just turned 16.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. But yeah, I was like, at 19, I was like, I guess that's fine. Never mind.
It is a little wild, but I mean, age is such a weird thing, and especially like for Crescent City, like once Bryce makes the drop, like once people make the drop, if I guess her mom wouldn't because her mom's human, so she can't make the drop. But
Mm-hmm.
like real people, when they make the drop, they turn basically immortal. Like they're gonna live for the
Yeah.
aging process slows way down.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess age isn't really like
That
a factor
important.
in that. Yeah.
Yeah, because during this reread, again, I've been in a Scooby Doo mood and I've been like taking notes. And so I have, I think, almost everyone's aged written down. And some people's ages, whenever we get there and it's mentioned, I'll like say, and this person's this old. It did not occur to me. Like, Rune? Hello? I won't say his age now, but I was like, you're how many?
Yeah. How many
What?
years old? I mean, same for Hunt. Like he's old man too.
But like I expected it, but he's actually young. He's he's young for his age
Compared
compared to
to his
this kid.
life. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I'm like, you are baby boy compared to this kid.
Baby boy Hunt.
Uh, I love him.
I know, he's the best. Oh, amazing.
Anywho, back to Bryce and the Nepo baby. So they go on their little date. Shocker, Rita's late
Ugh.
because he says that there was a Malakine who wanted to make sure that their investment in his daddy's company is assured because, like they mentioned in the beginning of the chapter, whenever they took in Briggs, it was because for his involvement in the human rebellion.
Mhm.
So Crescent City does not have a rebellion. However, over in Pangira, there is
Mhm.
one. So while that's going on, the Malakim is like, hey, I need you to make sure that my funds are secure. So that is why he is late. Um, and then we also get a little bit more history because Bryce does talk about the current conflict in Pangira. And that's
Mhm.
whenever we also learn that some people who either have fought and were taken out of the fight, they eventually become, in a sense, slaves, and they are considered lowers in the class system.
Mhm.
And ways that you can identify them is they'll have tattoos. can vary on placement depending on their species, but one that is relevant across all boards is on their wrist. They have specifically an SPQM chapter, wow, tattoo on their wrist, and it's circled by, I think, 7 stars. So that's constant throughout, no matter what race you belong to. That's one way to identify the slaves. And again, it's always someone who has fought for a rebellion of some sort. Um, and then we also learned that Bryce was actually forced to claim Earth and Blood as her house because
Mhm.
her father got her the Civitas rank. She could have chosen House of Sky and Breath because, again, she does have that part Fae to her. But her father, who we don't know yet, and her mom could see the more benefits of her choosing House of Earth and Blood rather than Sky and Breath, so that's what she chose.
Mhm.
But as she's on this date, Reed is doing the things, not paying attention on his phone. So Danica is like, dude, just break up with this kid and give Connor, sweet baby boy Connor, a chance.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
she does.
So I wanna jump into this just so that way, because
Mm-hmm.
our listeners are on the same page. So, with House of Earth and Blood, this is a reminder that House of Earth and Blood, which is what Bryce was kind of like forced to go into, is humans, shifters, ordinary animals, witches, and many others who Chthona calls. So that's why she went into that one. The Sky and House of Sky and Breath includes the Malachim angels, elementals, sprites, and the Fae who are blessed by Solus. So as Madison was saying, like there's 2 options that she could have gone in because dad is in one, but mom is technically in another. So she is in the one that is under humans as a category.
Mm-hmm. Which I think is kind of cool that she did have an option, but the option was kind of chosen for her anyway.
Right, exactly. Like she ish had an option.
Yeah. Like it's there, but like not
Yeah, not
really.
not really. Yeah.
The other option, it's nice to look at. Doesn't mean it's real.
Exactly. Yeah.
But Bryce ends up bringing it up with Reed. Hallelujah. Because
I
she
know.
keeps on reminiscing about Connor's words and straight from the source, sweet baby boy Connor. He says, I'm crazy about you. I don't want to be with anyone else. I haven't for a while now. One date, if it doesn't work, then we'll deal with it. Just give me a chance, please.
Give Connor a chance.
I love this man
He's
so
not
much.
your typical wolf. He's different.
He's built different. But Bryce does end up agreeing and she texts Connor. She's like, pizza, Saturday. If you're late, it's done.
Mhm.
And he's so happy about it. But then you met sweet baby boy Connor, and then spicy boy Connor is like, by the way, you look delicious before you left the apartment. I was like,
Love him.
dude, we're on a date. We're in public. But yeah, he continues. They're texting back and forth. He says, you won't regret this. I've had a long time to figure out ways I'm going to spoil you and all the fun we're going to have. Not me giggling, kicking my feet.
Oh, he's literally the
Um,
best. I
and
can't.
then he says, go enjoy yourself. I'll see you in a few days. Message me when you're home safe. So cute.
I know.
Ugh, I love Connor.
Ugh.
It's
Sweet
fine.
Connor.
Um, but yeah, so Bryce and Connor were texting.
Mhm.
Bryce says, peace out, Girl Scout to Reed. And then she texts Fury and Juniper, and she's like, you know what? This date didn't go well, but I'm still gonna have fun tonight. So they decide to go to the White Raven to do the fun things. The White Raven to me, if you read Akatar, it's essentially like Rita's. So fun little crossover analogy. Um,
Yeah, like a little club, like a modern day Rita's.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but Bryce is bringing her bottle of expensive wine that she got from the restaurant. She also buys, I think she buys Mirth Root, and then Fury
Mhm.
brings Life Seeker. So they're doing a lot
Yes.
of things.
And then in this, there was another drug that was like an option
Mm-hmm.
that she chose not to get.
Yes. The dealer mentions this new drug. It's called synth. And it essentially is described as it gives you the ability to feel like a god for a little bit.
So it
Um,
says.
And Bryce is like, thanks, but no thanks. I've been
Mhm.
around the block. I know what I like. And then she also mentions it to Fury once. Fury says and shows, I think she brought the Life Seeker. And
Mhm.
Bryce is like, oh yeah, and someone mentioned Sith or Synth. And Fury is like, yeah, don't do that. Stay away from that one. Um, but yeah,
Yeah.
so that chapter ends with them at the White Raven. They're doing all the things, um, except for Juniper, because
Mhm.
she's a dancer. She
She's in
is
practice.
a career-driven girly, and we love to see it.
Yes, she's got things to do. I thought it was interesting that for how serious of a character Fury is, if Fury says to stay away from something like and is a little bit scared of it, that
Mm-hmm.
should be a huge red flag to the readers. So synth is a big deal. Keep your mind on that word. We will find that out later on in the book.
Oh, and it also mentioned that we found out that Fury is Veneer, but we don't know what her other form is, her power, or who's.
Poorhouse.
Yeah,
We know nothing about her.
another reason to write a novella, Sarah. Get
Tell
on
me
it.
all the things. She's gonna
Tell
have
me
this like
more.
crazy backstory. I'm sure of it.
Ugh, and I'd be here for every single page.
Oh, 100%.
If I had this much of a Fury background, I would
Hmm.
not complain.
No, definitely not. 100%. Yes. So that kind of wraps up chapter 4. In chapter 5, the White Raven is wild and as usual, and Bryce, Fury, and Juniper are having the best time. Light seekers all over the place, white powders everywhere. Bryce is lost in the bliss, and as she danced and danced and danced, laughing and losing herself completely, she thought life was so good and she couldn't wait to make the drop with Danica, right? So like she's having the best time. Danica's not there, but she's still thinking about Danica. And so she texted her and sent her videos throughout the night. And eventually, as Bryce wandered her way home, she finally made it to her building door. She took a while to even remember the code to the building. Unable to like fully even register the screen of her phone, she couldn't call anyone to help, and they would probably make fun of her and be mad at her anyways, right? She finally remembered the code. She steps inside. The moment she stepped inside, she noticed that it reeked in there, and she blamed the janitor for not doing a good job cleaning up the place. As she was barefoot on the stairs, she made her way up, still like in a super haze from the light seeker, and she's like slowly making her way up the stairs. She thought for a moment Connor was upstairs and maybe finally they could finally get together for at least a night, right? She always liked him, but she never said it, and she thanked Danica in her mind for finally lifting the ban from him. So Danica was going to be super pissed also that Bryce had so much fun without her. And again, Danica couldn't leave to go be with her because she was in the mandatory pack night. So as she approached the apartment door, she stepped in something wet and sticky. She had 6 keys, but it took a while for her to find which one went to the door. So she's like fumbling with them, right? Once she found the right one, she went to go touch the handle, and the handle of the door was also wet and sticky. She finally took a moment to like focus and realize that the liquid was blood, and the door was already opened and broken. The door was made of iron and also enchanted with the best spells money could buy. Basically, it was like the one thing that she let Danica buy for the apartment. Feeling like she was hallucinating, she was like rubbing her eyes, and she realized that her hands are still coated in blood and that this is all real.
That's
She's
gross.
calling, yeah, right. She was like touching her face. She's like, ugh,
That's a
gross. Okay,
biohazard.
yeah, still happening. Bloodborne pathogens. We've taken the course. Yeah. So calling for Danica, the smell when she walks in hits her in the face. But there was no light. But she also has fey eyes. So it took her a second, but they did adjust to her seeing in the dark. Can't relate. I cannot see in the dark ever. The apartment was trashed, and all that was left was piles of bodies all over the place. Even Bryce's room was destroyed, and on the bed was her best friend, Danica, torn to absolute pieces. And at the end of her bed was Connor, who looked like he died defending Danica until the last moment. The whole pack was gone right before her eyes. She hears something in the hall, and she runs, like she's running towards it, right? She looks out in the trash chute and notes that it's coated with wolf blood and there are footsteps that were not human. Whatever was there was hiding from her in the trash chute. People are starting to scream outside at whatever was there. So she runs into an alley that people were like looking towards, and she's chasing whatever it was down the street, trying to figure out what it even looked like. So she knew for Danica. So that way, when she like gives a statement or something happens, like she did the best that she could for Danica. As Bryce is running, she thinks that she could have grabbed Danica's sword for protection and wondered if she even had time to use it to defend herself. But then she remembers that that sword wasn't there. It lays in the gallery supply closet. The almost translucent monster was not Vanir at all, but a demon. And it was feeding on a Malik or an angel. It was ripping through them. And when she left her apartment, she grabbed like a table leg. And so she brought it with her and she slams it into the creature. And when she did, like before she did, she saw its face and it didn't even have eyes. Like it was like this weird face. And then also when she hit it and it started bleeding, it didn't bleed red. It bled clear, which was super gross.
Mm-hmm.
So she hits this creature and the creature doesn't fight back. It goes immediately again to attacking the angel that it was already attacking, which was an interesting red flag to me. She swung for it again, and this time it did come back at her, and it gave her a huge gouge in her leg, like in her thigh. She smashed it in the face with a table leg, and then it ran away. She thought to run and track it, but the angel on the ground was dying, and she needed to help them. As the wound on her leg burned like acid, she was on the ground trying to save them. She grabbed their cell phone and called the emergency services. She begged for them to help and struggled to tell them where she was, so she gives them a phone number from the one she is using and tells them to track her 112-03-0577 over and over again. The emergency services person finally looks up and looks at the number and he curses and he says, "Help is on the way." Holy shit. This chapter. And I think that this is a huge reason that people are so scared to read this book because we get so invested in these characters and then they literally are ripped away from us. And it hurts.
Yeah. Sure were.
I hate it.
So again, this is my reread. So I know the things, I know what's going to happen.
Yep.
I know the things that were going to trigger me and cause me to spiral. However, I did not expect how gut-wrenching and horrible it sounded to like hear her repeat that number over and over again.
Yep.
Like I did not expect that to affect me because like you read it in your head and like you don't really put emotions into it. But hearing it, I almost teared up just a little bit.
Oh, same. Yeah, I get goosebumps every time. And the first time you read it, there's so much happening that you're like, oh, okay, phone number. But like when
Mm-hmm.
you are going through it again, 112-03-0577, 112-03-0577. She was so in shock and so like out of it that was the one thing she could give them to get help, right? So even though she's on drugs, her pack died, like all these things, Bryce still tried her best to help what was in front of her.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that says a lot.
Yeah.
And that wraps up chapter 5. Ugh.
What a
So
chapter.
emotional. I can't. It kills
I
me.
I think I remember the first time I read this book. I was sad, obviously, because the pack died,
Yeah.
but I kind of really wanted this book to be from not necessarily Danica's point of view, but I wanted
Mhm.
her in it because I found her to be such an interesting character. And I remember texting my friend, I was
Yes.
like, Danica dies? What do you mean?
Yeah.
And also sweet
It's
baby boy Connor.
I know. Everything that Bryce knew and loved has literally just been ripped away from her
Mm-hmm.
completely. But Danica is still an important piece of the book. So even though she's gone, don't forget about her because she will be back.
Or Connor, because he's really, really sweet.
Don't forget about Connor because we love him.
Yeah.
Miss you,
Connor,
Connor.
R.I.P.
R.I.P.
Um,
Ugh,
but
hate
yeah,
it.
that happens. And then Bryce is brought in for questioning, but not a suspect
Mhm.
because Isaiah makes sure that she's not a suspect, which I was like, nice. But also like I probably still would have like made sure to like fully rule her out, if that made sense. I don't know. I don't watch a lot of true
Yeah.
crime. I used to until I was like going to college, single dorm room. I'm like, I don't need a
Oh, girl got paranoid.
yeah,
Yeah.
because I'm
No,
like,
that's fair.
because I'm like, well, now I live alone and I don't need to read
Yeah.
about people breaking into things.
No, don't be reading into any of that stuff.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
I loved it in the moment, but once I was, like, off to college, I'm like, "Never mind. Happy
Mhm.
little bubble."
Yeah.
Um, but Bryce was brought into questioning, where we meet Isaiah, who is the leader of the 33rd, and who was specifically appointed by Micah. Um, so again, the 33rd. So as you have like all of these city sanctions, each sanction has their form of police, if you will. So
Angel
you
police.
have Moonwood, the Wolves, they have their multiple packs, which I
Mhm.
also thought was weird. Have I read a lot of Omega verses? No. But the few that I've read, it's always like our main characters, like it's their pack. Like it's not multiple packs within one society, if that makes sense.
Right. Yeah, it is interesting that there are multiple packs, but there also are a lot of wolves. So like they and
Mm-hmm.
each pack has an alpha, so they have to put the alphas somewhere, so they put them in charge of their own pack, and each pack protects a different part of their area.
Yeah.
So it is
Which
interesting.
in one of the chapters, I think it was like chapter 3, I think, they mentioned that Connor's an alpha, and they say specifically that Connor would have been alpha of the pack of devils if Danica wasn't born, which I thought was very interesting.
It is very interesting. Yes, and Connor would have, and he was really powerful. But it also notes that he is not like resentful of
Mm-mm.
Danica at all. Like he is proud to be her second and proud to like serve with her.
Because he's supportive. He's not an alpha hole, Bryce.
He's not. She would have found that out. She
Ugh,
would if everything would have been different.
I know. Ugh. Anywho, um, we meet Isaiah, but then we meet Hunt Athalar.
Aunt
So
Avalar.
whenever like I'm listening to the graphic audio, I'm like in my bubble, I'm on my computer, don't even need to look at the book. And
Mm-mm.
Isaiah's like mentioning this person that he sees, and the person's like, oh, she's still not talking. And Isaiah's like, this person, predator, killer, monster, my head. That's baby. That's baby right there. That's
Baby,
my man.
baby.
That's my man. And they're like, finally, because it could have been someone else. It could have been Micah, could have been Justinian. But I was like, nah,
Yeah.
my little Hunt Athalar senses are tingling.
Oh my gosh.
That's baby right there.
I can't.
Um, so yeah, Hunt Athalar, everyone. We're gonna learn a lot more about him. But essentially, he is part of the 33rd, which there's also different legions as well. We'll get into
Mhm.
that later as the book continues on. But within the 33rd, you have Isaiah, who's the leader, specifically appointed by Micah. You
Mhm.
have Hunt, who is Isaiah's second. They don't like to pull rank on one another, which is very sweet.
Mhm.
Um, you also have Naomi, who is the captain, and she is known for also arresting Philip Briggs. Because whenever this happened, although they do not know who killed the angel in the alley or the pack of devils, there are things possibly pointing to Philip Briggs, so they brought him back
Mhm.
in. But we also get a little bit more into Hunt and Isaiah's background. They were a part of a rebellion. And I forgot how sad their backstory is because they like bonded over their time in the Styria dungeons. After those dungeons, they were relocated and then they were put through the Archangel dungeons.
Mhm. Yeah,
Give
they've
my
been through a
boy
lot.
a break. And then um, the archangel that they both specifically felt under, her name was Shahar.
Ugh.
She led the rebellion. Um, and then we learn about another person who comes into play. Her name is Victoria. To me, she kind of reminds me a little bit of Amryn in just this little sense because Victoria is a species who can like pick other things to occupy.
Mhm.
Not so much like other characters in the SJM world, but to me, kind of like how Amryn says, like, this is the body I chose, and even Elaine like specifically asks her about it.
Mhm.
But essentially, Victoria has this ability, and her punishment for participating in the rebellion that was under Shahar was to be trapped in the body that she chose. So she's no longer able to switch what she looks like.
Mhm.
Um, like we mentioned with the slaves who were a part of the rebellion, they have that SPQM tattoo on their wrist.
Mhm.
Angels specifically also have a halo tattooed on their forehead, which was tattooed by witches. So it has magic embedded in the ink so that their magic is tampered. So Hunt essentially, he's known to have little lightning powers, which is really, really fun. But because of the tattoo, his power is only down to a tenth of what it could be.
Mhm.
Um, but Hunt and Isaiah, they're in the room watching Victoria question Bryce. Girl's gone through a lot of trauma, so it makes sense that she's shut down.
Mhm. Yeah,
And
definitely.
it kind of got on my nerves. Again, I don't watch true crime, but Victoria decides to like specifically read some of the text messages that Bryce
Mhm.
had sent, and then she plays the audio.
Yeah, I think she was I don't know if she was trying to be, like, just bad cop, but I feel like someone needs to tell her that there's good cop, bad cop. There's supposed to be 2 of them, and they're supposed to play off of each other to,
Yep.
like, get the person to talk. Um, so I don't know why she I don't know if she doesn't deal with victims because, like, Bryce essentially was a victim. Bryce
Mhm.
it was cleared as a suspect by Isaiah immediately, right? Whether or not she should or should not have been, she was. So I
Mhm.
think that I don't know if, again, Victoria is, like, not used to talking to victims, but you don't treat victims the way that you would treat a suspect. And I think she went in treating Bryce like a suspect and was like,
Mhm.
"I'm gonna throw all this stuff at you and see what happens," right?
Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting as well. But there are times like when I'm watching like crime shows, right, where sometimes a cop who maybe isn't as empathetic as they should be has done that.
Mhm.
So I think that was the tactic she was going for.
But that was her method. But eventually Hunt is like, no, like she's gonna shut down even more and you're gonna lose
Yeah.
her. Um, which whenever I read it, call me controversial, call me a Dane Atos, but I was like, sounds like what you guys need to figure out what happened is a Daemati. But I'm like,
Yeah, for
because
real.
that would help out with a lot of things. Um, but eventually, once Hunt shuts that down, he goes back into the room because again, Bryce still isn't really talking to Victoria, but
Mhm.
Sabine makes an appearance, and Sabine starts going off on Bryce,
Yes, she does
and
show up.
she wants Bryce dealt with. She wants Bryce. I can't remember if she says that she wants her killed at that point or not. She's specifically like telling them that Bryce needs to give her Danica's sword back
Mhm.
because it's missing as well. But Sabine goes off and is like rattling all these things off about Bryce, which doesn't really paint Bryce in a good light, but also people know Sabine's track record. So there's like,
Yeah.
we'll tuck that in for
And,
like
like, what about
further
your daughter,
information.
bro? Literally is
Yeah.
in shreds. She's like, "I want my sword." Sit down.
I
You're
can't.
wild.
But after we get a guest appearance from Sabine that no one asked for,
Yeah,
we
for
get
real.
another baby.
Wait, can I say it?
Yeah, I was about to do it, but go for it.
Rune Dannon, Crown Prince of the Valbaran Fae. Enter
Cute
music here
music.
from the internet. Da na na. Like, ugh,
uh, Rune Dannon, also baby.
Rune.
He is essentially going off partitioning for Bryce's release because even though she is and this is also kind of weird because even though she is a Civitas and she falls under House of Earth and Blood,
Mhm,
Rune is like, that's my family, therefore
mhm.
jurisdiction of Sky and Breath, which I
Yes.
thought like gene wise makes sense.
Mhm.
Civitas wise, I'm like, that's not her house, bro.
I wonder I think he's saying it just to, like, pull rank,
I
right?
think
Like
so too.
automatic. Like he's like, I'm just gonna throw all this out there, and then they're gonna get confused and be like, all right, because they're not gonna fuck with the literal crown
Crown Prince of
prince
the Valvarn
of
Fae.
the Valvaran Fae. Yes, and they're gonna be like, oh, okay. I don't know what party girl has to do with this house and other house, but
Mm-hmm.
sure, you got it, dude. Whatever.
And also, just like how I know Ethan plays Sunball, you will be reminded that Rune Danon is specifically the Crown Prince of the Valvarn Fae multiple times.
You know, someone could tell me that Rune Danon is the crown prince of the Valvaran Fae 3 times to 4 times a day, and I will never get sick of it.
100%.
Like you can tell me. Can I be my ring? How do you make it my ringtone? I'm an old lady. I don't know how to do
That
that,
would
but
be fun.
yes, Rune Danon, crown prince of the Valvaran Fae. Oh, hold on, I'm getting a phone call.
Ugh, or what a
What they
way to
say?
wake up.
Yes, it's your alarm clock. Rune Danon. I can't, I have to get a Rune I have my hunt t-shirt. I need my Rune t-shirt. I gotta get one.
Ooh, I
I'm a
think
big
I
merch
got.
girly.
Uh,
They got them everywhere.
oh yeah, I was about to say. I think I've got my friend Rune Danon, Crown Prince of the Valvarn Fae, with his sword on the
Yes.
back. Um,
Cute.
But yeah, because going into his sword, so we know that Danica has a sword. That is a sword.
Mhm.
That is a part of her family's legacy. But Rune also has a sword. And it's
Yes.
specifically called the Starborn Sword because
Mhm.
Rune belongs to something called the Starborn Fae.
Mhm.
So the sword itself is mentioned to be specifically forged in another world before the Fae had even come through the Northern Rift. Um, it's also mentioned, and we'll talk about this later because it's mentioned multiple times and I have many notes, but they mention that his eyes are blue, like the heart of a flame. Because in this
Yes.
book, they say blue, but
Mhm.
in other books, they will say it's a different color. But I'm like, hold on. Um, but yeah, fun fact, his eyes are blue.
They're blue. And the
Um,
Northern Rift will come into play later on as well. So do keep that saying in your mind for now.
mhm. But essentially, with Rune's heritage, we'll get more into his history later on.
Mhm.
This is kind of like a little excerpt that they give in this chapter. But with Rune and his legacy and his family, he's specifically, again, the crown prince of the Valbarn Fae.
Yeah.
But he also has so the Valbarn Fae are known for their firepower. But what Rune channels mostly is more of his cousin's power, which are the Avalon Fae, and their magic tends to run more into like shadows and mist and telepathy. But as we're getting a little bit of Rune's background, I also found this interesting. Okay, so in chapter 2, whenever Bryce and Danica are walking, Danica specifically tells Bryce, hey, your brother's gonna be there. And Bryce is like, oh, I don't need to know that. And like, la la la, like, I don't care about my brother. But
Mhm.
Rune says Bryce and I are cousins.
Mhm.
And I was like, interesting. We'll get more into that later in the series.
Mystery brother.
Mystery brother, cousins. But funny part is that Hunt starts to push speculations asking if Rune and Bryce are together. And he specifically asks, he's like, just how close are you? And Rune says, if you're asking if I'm sleeping with her, the answer is no. She's family. And then Hunt says, distant family. I've heard the Fae like to keep their line undiluted.
Ugh.
First thought,
Ugh.
ew. Brother,
Yes.
ugh, what is that? Second thought, Rowan and Aelin.
No.
No, because whenever I was reading
You're
it,
not
I was
wrong.
like, they're cousins. Like they're also distant cousins, but like they're family. And the whole time my friend was like,
Yeah.
get that out of your head. It's fine. Everyone's fine. If you think about the Fae, technically everyone's related to everyone. I'm like, Alabama. Essentially, you got Rowan and Aelin in one boat. You got speculations of Hunt and Bryce, or not Hunt and Bryce, Ruin and Bryce in another boat.
Mhm.
And I was like, you know what? Maybe Hunt's got a point with this question. But
Ew.
the chapter does end though with them saying, like, they let Bryce go,
Mhm.
and um, I think Hunt asks about keeping tabs on her or something. And Isaiah reveals that Bryce drank the water that has a tracker in it, but we never learned about the tracker. Or like what happened within those 3 days.
That's wild. And like,
Mhm.
if you're reading this, I feel like I'm gonna say 97% of people read over that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it doesn't really come back to that, like as far as I remember.
Like I doubt she did anything like
No,
logistically beside from grieving, but I'm like,
right. No,
I,
she
I
spent the
still
next
kind of want
six.
to know.
She spent a long time just like chilling, like not doing
Hmm.
anything. Like she spent a long time, right? Because that wraps up chapter 6, and then chapter 7 is a short but sweet little chapter. So like it starts out with Bryce at the bone quarter, right? Which is down like below. If you're looking at like the circle of the map, it's down below, right? So she's kneeling at the bone quarter at the gates, empty, broken. She paid the fee to get in because it cost her money to get in and would stay there until she was ready to go back. She mentioned that she left all personal items with her back in the city because they are of no use in the bone quarter. And we learned that Ethan left her a voicemail, and he says, "Don't come to the sailing tomorrow. You're not welcome there." So again, we're going back to Ethan, who we
Play
know is
sunball.
Connor's. He plays Sunball, yes, but he is Connor's younger brother. And he was like an honorary member of the pack, but he wasn't a part of the pack, so he was not in that mandatory pack night. So he did not lose his life. So he is still alive. We also know that Bryce hasn't left her room in 6 days, but she left to go do this one thing. All of the pack was to be sailed today because, again, they are sailed on boats, and if their souls are good enough, they will make it to the quarter. But if not, they will tip over and their souls will be condemned, right? Everything she loved is gone, and she was a complete husk of a person. She kneeled and bowed her head to say goodbye to Danica and give her one last thing. A creature emerged, and even the river trembled. And that's where that chapter ends. And right now, we do not know what it is she was giving to Danica, but we know this is going to come back and be important. So this chapter is small but sweet. Read into it. We will find out eventually what this means. And that is the end of the chapters that we are deep diving. So your guided tour through Crescent City, chapters 1 through 7, has been complete. We did it.
Those.
End scene. Cut. Cut. So next, we are welcoming you to the House of Theories and Lore.
For all the
If
CCU alumni.
Yeah, I know. We're gonna make t-shirts. If you have read the Crescent City series, stay here, hang with us, check out some theories and lore, tell us your thoughts. If you have not read the series or not read past these chapters, pause here. You can always come back when you're done and listen to these parts, okay? If you want to know it anyways, stick around. Welcome to the house again of theories and lore. Speaking of theories and lore, I do want to tell everyone about a beautiful company that we love so much. She is a Sarah J. Maas licensed vendor, Valor and Lore. So we thought it was very fitting. We love you, Valor and Lore. She makes the cutest clothing of all of the 3 series for Sarah J. Maas. They are so cute. So go and check her out. We're going to have her notes in our show notes. And when you go to check out and buy some very cute merch, you can use our code goodishgirls10 for 10% off.
We love a
Welcome.
discount.
We love a good discount. Yes. We'll be trying to bring you guys more discounts too as the series is going on. So just keep a lookout. And if you guys see anything fun, especially with the Sarah J. Maas like licensing stuff that may or may not be like being renewed. So if you're wanting Sarah J. Maas that's from licensed vendors, go get them now. Check out these businesses. We are going to post one every week on our social medias, mostly on our Instagram. So go check them out. We're going to be highlighting some good ones that we love, and we love their merch, and we love the hard work that they put in. All right, here we go. So we're just getting into this book, right? So I'm not going to drag in every theory that we have throughout the series. So every episode, we're going to bring in some new things that kind of go along with it. So first thing I want to talk about, who the fuck is Theory? Really, though? It doesn't really tell us a whole lot, but I dove deep into Reddit, and there was a user, Emmy Ego. So I want to give her credit for this because I pretty much just like copied a lot of things that she said because she explained it so well. So this is what she says, okay? She says, I think the biggest clue as to what Fury is, not who, but what, lies in her name, as in the Furies. She says, I believe that Fury is just as her name suggests, which is she is one of the Furies. In Greek mythology, the Furies were essentially the female assassins of hell. They lived in the underworld, but would ascend to earth to kill those who had committed sins. Evidently, this aligns perfectly with what we know about our own Fury, who is also an assassin, right? And she regularly undertakes mysterious missions to kill certain people off all around the world. Under whose command, we still don't know. Although, from different mythologies, the Furies and the Valkyries are very similar, and for the sake of comparison, I think that is exactly what Fury is. She is a member of Hell's Valkyries, a warrior woman of Hell. We don't know her age, her species, her power, or her house, if she even has one. And this already sets off alarm bells and tells us that she is likely something that we haven't encountered before. And Emmy Ego, I think, has a goddamn good point.
Mm-hmm.
Like, literally, could be anything, especially if it's aligned with the Valkyries, which we know that Sarah J. Maas
Love
uses,
them.
obviously, in Silver Flames, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's full circle. And what is she like more than a full, I don't know, nothing more than a full circle for our girl. And Emmy Eggle also says, what's more is that Fury seems to have significant overreaching power. She has allies in both the Asteri Senate, then higher up in the rebel cause, so no real alliance on either side. She has a license to kill in a whole variety of different countries, and everyone fears her. We also see Fury attend the Valbaran Summit, an event for the country's most powerful and influential leaders, and yet she also attends alone. Very strange. Some assume that Fury and Amryn must be connected, and whilst that could be true, it's important to note that Amryn purposely modeled her appearance off the people from Xian in the Akatar world. Thus, that's not actually Amryn's true form. Did I say Xian right? Xian? It's a Z, right?
Sure. I believe it.
I'm gonna go with it. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. Probably fine. I was like, I don't know letters,
That's fine.
especially when they're not what they sound like.
Mm-hmm.
So I put the question out to you. I love this Emmy Ego theory
Mm-hmm.
that she is part of Hell. We know that Hell is in the story, right? Like we know that there's 7 layers of it. So I think that she could be a part of that. I think that there could be a ton of different things. What are your thoughts? And then also I want to know our listeners' thoughts. So like if you're listening to this, please tell us. Tell us what you think. Drop it in the comments.
You know, a lot of people, especially this comment specifically mentions Amryn. But you know who else she kind of reminds me of in this moment now that I'm like, because this
Who?
is the first time I'm reading or seeing this theory.
Who?
Asriel, who's
Oh,
also like allegedly people. Also, again, if you have not read all the books or ACOTAR or Throne of Glass, if you do not have the Infinity Gauntlet, that is the Sarah J. Maas verse, we will be talking spoilers for all
yes.
series.
Spoilers from here until the end of this episode. Listen at
But
your own risk.
yeah, you've been warned. No yelling in the comments. But in the third book, whenever, or the second book, technically, whenever Bryce is like, take me portal to Prince of Hell, and then she ends up at Azriel's feet.
Mm-hmm.
So people are speculating that he might be Prince of Hell. Oh gosh. Ooh, I have another theory that I don't know if I want to save till later, if I want to bring it up now.
Oh,
Should I do it?
your choice. I don't know. Say it. I
I'll
don't
do
know.
it now. When in doubt, we can cut it. But
Yes.
okay. So I'm so excited. Okay, so later in the series, we meet an actual Prince of Hell who is Adis,
Yes.
who is a cat.
It's my favorite.
Someone brought up this point that in Silver Flames, whenever Nesta and Gwen are in the library and they're being followed by a darkness,
There's a cat there.
Gwen specifically like relates it to a cat. So I'm like, what if Adis was there and like he's traveling through the portals and
Right.
then also and they just don't see him because he's a cat. But
Right.
also, what if whenever Bryce says, take me to Adis, take me to a Prince of Hell, or however she says it,
Yeah.
what if Adis is already in Valaris in cat form, so we don't know, and so she's technically taken to a Prince of Hell, but like Adis is somewhere in cat form, we don't know, but she lands in front of Azriel as like,
So we speculate.
yeah. You
Oh,
picking up what I'm putting down?
damn. No. Ah. Wild.
Just food for thought.
That's like that's a meal for thoughts.
That's a whole
Because
thing.
people very much jumped on the Azriel is a prince of hell theme
Mhm.
immediately. But I think that a lot of people overlook the cat in Silver. I did.
Mhm. I
I
did too.
totally missed that. So I am so glad that you brought that up. That's very interesting to me. And I think there are also some haters of Silver Flame, so they like don't really dive too much into it, which sucks because it's like it's my favorite
Yeah.
book of the series. But yes, yes to the cat, yes to the theory that Adis could be, or even do all of the princes of hell go as cats? Do they go as different animals if they come up? Is Adis the only one that comes up? Right. So like, I love it.
Because also, now I'm just gonna run rampant.
Hmm.
So in Silver Flames, is or no? Because this is post-war, so this is after Bryaxis. So I was gonna say, what if Adis is Bryaxis? But that doesn't make
No,
sense because
Bryaxis is
Bryaxis is
out
gone,
frolicking somewhere in the forest.
living their best life as
Thank
they
goodness for
should.
Cassian.
I I feel so bad for him.
Bryaxis or Cassian?
Both.
Both.
Kind of Cassian too, because he's so scared of this
He's
thing
terrified.
and it's out in the world. And then also, he just keeps on running to all these monsters. Like, even whenever they
He
go to the
does.
prison, and he's like, that thing almost killed me. Now I have to see it again. Like,
No.
give my boy a
Sweet
break.
baby Cassian. He's my favorite.
Ugh.
I love him. I
But
can't.
yeah, that's my little rampant theory
I
that
love that.
popped in my head.
That's very interesting. I want to know everybody else's thoughts too. So please put them in the comments. If you're scared to put it in the comments, just DM us, email us, whatever. Tell us what you think.
Hmm.
Ooh, that's exciting. And then I want to pose another question. And I don't have an answer to this. I just want it to be out in the world. Uh Jessica, right? We know that she's powerful. We know that she has been around a long time. And we know that there's a rumor that like the tanks below in the gallery are actually like her exes and her enemies. Who is in those tanks, right? Are they really her exes? Or like, are there powerful people from the whole time that she's been alive in those tanks?
I feel like it's gotta be from the whole time. I feel like exes is a misdirect. Like, oh, it's my exes. Oh,
Right.
like, whatever. But
Yeah.
I think it's maybe enemies from like her witch era and also like
Yeah.
from the rulings of like the Underking being like, hey, take care of this person for me. And she's like,
Mhm.
boom, animal. Don't
Yeah.
worry about
Into an
it.
animal. I just wonder if she does continue the Crescent City series, right? Because we know that it's not completed. Are we going to come back to those tanks down? I just feel like it's mentioned, and I don't know if it is like an Easter egg, right? Or is it actually like
Mm-hmm.
foreshadowing? Like, are we going to come back to those tanks and eventually they're going to be changed into something that is like dangerous and powerful that eventually we have to deal with? Or is it just like something fun, like a fun piece of information that we have that we don't really need to do anything with?
You know, it would kind of. I don't know how they would like unanimal themselves. But if
Like, I
you,
think eventually someone will have to turn them back, right?
yeah, because if you think about it, again, it's been many moons since I've finished Shadow and Flame, Flame and Shadow, potato. Um, but whenever that finishes, I don't think they necessarily have another threat lined up. Do they?
Yeah, the only threat that I can see that is lined up is the fact that they're about to lose all their first light
Hmm.
because people aren't getting their first light anymore like when they die, right? Cuz they're like being into that little like basically like people food
Yeah.
grinder, right? And then like reused. So they're going to go into the dark ages. So eventually they're going to be like the I mean unless they have gasoline for generators, but I think only Jessica had that.
Another point. Gasoline. Okay.
Yes,
So you
tell
said
us.
how you didn't know, like whenever we were covering chapter 1, you're like, oh, and there's like she put her sword in the closet and gasoline. I don't know where that's gonna come into play. It is foreshadowing for the last
Tell me.
chapter. Because specifically, whenever she defeats Micah, she pours gasoline on his body and then burns him. And I was like, it
True.
was right there the whole time.
The whole time. We'll tell the people at the end, our new friends who are guiding through this. We'll
Yeah.
bring it back around.
Again, ever since I've read the Empyrean series, like I like to Scooby-Doo things so
Mhm.
hard because I want to crack the code. And whenever I was reading Throne of Glass, I had to be gaslighted into not like knowing that that Aelin and Rowan were mates because I would see the italicized text and like she would say something or he would say something and then he would like accidentally like hit his knee on the table. I'm like, that's not normal. Like
Mhm.
they are communicating and they are mates. And my friend is like, I mean, that'd be interesting, but like I don't think so. And I'm like, what do you mean?
And that friend read it already?
What was that?
That friend had, like, already finished the series?
So we were kind of reading Throne of Glass at the same time.
Okay.
She started it before I did because she's psychotic. You know who you are. And she went straight
Hold up.
from Onyx Storm to Assassin's Blade and like reading Throne of Glass. And I was like, why would you
Okay.
do that to yourself?
Yeah, there
Um,
not no palate cleanser there. I don't do palate cleansers either, so I get it. Like, I can't judge someone who doesn't palate cleanse because I also do not palate cleanse.
I do
I
a
should.
palette cleanser sometimes. There was only one time I didn't do a palette cleanser. It was the only time I was ever judged at a bookstore. I bought I bought Hunting Adeline, and Butcher and Blackbird all in one like purchase. And the bookseller looked at me and she's like, "You should really read something light in between these." And I was like,
Okay.
"Okay, but no, because I
But
choose
why?
violence." Because I've like last year, I was like, you know
Mm,
what? For spooky season, I don't want to read all these spooky books. Like
yeah.
palette cleanser, I don't know her. Um,
I don't know her. No, you're not wrong. I don't know her either. Who is that? Not
but
in my house.
now after reading like Onyx Storm, palette cleanser, Throne of Glass, palette cleanser ish, I'm so hard into a reading slump. It's not even funny. I like life is beyond me. I'm like I don't know what to do,
Mhm.
what to read. Everything is a trigger. I never thought I'd be triggered by anything with the scent of lavender in it, but I am.
Yep. That's fair. That's fair. Yeah. It's it's hard. It's okay. We're gonna be super deep into Crescent City for, like, ever, so
Mhm.
we'll have fun there. Amazing.
Oh, and then the eyes thing. The reason why I went off on his eyes being blue. Rune's eyes, they do be blue. They do be blue. Until the later books, then they're like violet, whatever. But I stress this because whenever Bryce goes to Valaris for the first time, she sees Rhysand and she's like, "You kind of look like my brother." Doesn't say it, but thinks it because they both have violet eyes.
Right.
However, I don't recall like the order SJM wrote things, but between the SJM world, I see more similarities between Rune and Dorian than I do Rune and Rhysand.
Oh,
Because
okay.
Rune has blue eyes and Dorian has sapphire eyes. Also,
Yeah.
RIP Sorsha. She was a healer, and that was such a big thing in Dorian's life. And
Mhm.
then Rune was supposed to be with a healer,
Mhm.
Hypaxia, but she plays for a different team. Respect. We love it.
Mhm.
But I was like, they have that similarity as well. I don't know. I think the only similarities with Rune and Rhysand is like whenever his eyes suddenly become more violet coated than blue coated. And then also like they're which also people call Rhysand a shadow daddy, but he's not. I'm sorry. That's Asriel. That's his title. Because I cannot think of a single time that Reese uses shadows. Does he not? Tell me I'm
I
wrong.
see. No. I mean, not necessarily, but, like, he can, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, when him and Faye were, like, flying in the sky and they're, like,
I love this
doing
motion that you have going on.
flying and they're doing spicy things up top. He, like, covers them, right? He can, like, veil them. And I don't know. I think the word shadow
but I
daddy is,
feel
like,
like
a vague term for
but I
just
feel like that's more of like in a literal veil because Tamlin does
yeah.
that whenever Rhysand comes into their
Right,
manor
behind the curtains,
and
yes.
yeah, and they veil her, but then Rhysand's like, hold up, who's that chick?
Right. No, you're not wrong.
So
I don't know.
there are
I feel
no
like
shadows to be seen.
I feel like shadow daddy is more of a vague term for just hot man with black hair and magic.
See, no, it's gotta have literal shadows for me. Like even Dorian. Dorian doesn't necessarily have shadows. His are like more phantom hands.
Right.
So like
That's
I
interesting.
wouldn't categorize him as shadow, but this kid,
Yeah,
this kid.
shadows. Yep. Yep, Azrael shadows. Kingfisher shadows. That's true.
I was
That's
about to
true.
say I know there's one in Quicksilver.
Mhm.
I couldn't remember who, but I was like, one of you kids have shadows.
Kingfisher. Kingfisher. Guys, tell Madison to read Quicksilver. I
I
can't.
will read it. I just didn't want it to end on a cliffhanger because I'm
It has
traumatized.
to. You
I'm
have to read it.
traumatized. I
It's a
am.
good cliffhanger. It's actually like out of all the cliffhangers, it's pretty solid. Like we have an answer. We know what is happening.
Okay, I just didn't know if it was going to be something to where I read it, I finished it, and I need 3 to 5 business days to recover.
No, I don't think so.
You hesitated.
Well, I had to think about like all the things that happen in the end, but like I don't think you would need like I grieved that book because it's my favorite book, but then I read it
Mhm.
like 4 more times and I was fine. Um, but like Brimstone's coming out in just a few months. So if you start
I'll
now,
read
by the
it
time
and
you get there, you'll be ready.
I'll read it in October because I if I like need to get through something quickly, I will because I kind of regret it, but I was like trying to finish because I was going to a book event and I didn't want anyone to accidentally say any spoilers. But
Mhm.
I may or may not read the whole entire Throne of Glass series in 2 months, just under 2 months.
Oh, so, yeah.
So I'm
If
like, Quicksilver, it's thick, but I can get
Are
through
you
it
not supposed to
quickly.
read it that fast?
I mean,
I
it's
think
kind
I
of like
did that.
wine. Like some people drink wine to drink wine, and then some people are like, no, you gotta swirl it, you gotta sniff it, you gotta
Oh,
just
no,
like
I'm like a whole
savor
bottle kinda
it.
girl. Ooh.
I don't know.
I'm
I
like,
have a
"You get a
feeling
bottle,
I'll
I get a
just
bottle."
I have a feeling I'll just devour Quicksilver, and because of that, I'm like,
You
I'll wait.
will. Yes, 'cause I want you in some of the Alissa will be back for those who are in this and have not logged off yet already. Alissa will be back for Brimstone, so I think it'd be fun if all 3 of us girls did Brimstone.
I promise I'll be there. Just give me time.
You'll be there. You'll be at our Brimstone release party that I'm manifesting.
Yes, it is going to
Amazing.
happen.
Perfect. That wraps up my theories for this week. I think that we have some good questions. I think we did great. Yeah,
Mhm. I am
amazing.
listen, chapter 20 something, guys. I've been sitting on a theory for weeks, and
Oh, I
I'm
can't wait.
so excited.
We'll be there soon. And we do have some special guests hopefully coming on the show with us too.
Mhm.
So things are getting a little bit different than when we did Quicksilver. So keep up with the episodes, keep up with your chapters, and we will see everybody next week. Again, I'm Dallas.
And I'm Madison.
Thanks for watching The Goodish Girls. Did you listen to Crescent City but want the physical book as a trophy? Or maybe you want to give the gift of a great fantasy romantasy book to a friend? You can find our favorite book recommendations in our Amazon storefront. Find the link in our show notes below.